Hello and welcome. Today I am going to talk about a helmet that I don't think a lot of people are aware of or using. I don't really see much people talking about it in build guides or on the internet, so I figured I would talk about it. That helmet is the Diadem of Arcane Synergy. You can find this in the Mountain Pass, so it's fairly early in the game before you even get to Act 2. And I think a lot of people are not really looking at it to use because they see what it says, which effectively you inflict a condition and you get this Arcane Synergy buff for 2 turns. And what that buff does is it gives you bonus damage to your weapon damage equal to your spellcasting mod. And most people, I would imagine, if they're playing a fighter, barbarian, or rogue, and they're not an Eldritch Knight or an Arcane Trickster, they don't think they actually have a spellcasting mod, when in fact all 3 of those classes do, regardless of their subclass. So both the fighter and the rogue have intelligence as their spellcasting mod, even if they're not one of those subclasses, and barbarian has charisma as its spellcasting mod. And since all 3 of those classes generally are going to front load 1 stat for their damage, that kind of leaves you free to work with your stats some. So you're going to front load that strength or dex for those classes, and then you're going to have some constitution, and then generally you look at like charisma or wisdom for perception checks or conversation checks. But if you knew ahead of time that you have this item that's based on your spellcasting mod, you can just devote it to that instead. So then you're just getting pure damage increase. So let's talk about inflicting conditions, which is really the main reason that this even works. So normally you would think you need a build or some abilities to actually make this go off. But it's actually very, very simple. Just the simple action of attacking an enemy will trigger this as a condition. And anything that's some sort of buff or debuff also triggers this. It's very simple. Even if you have an item like the Click Heals Boots of Speed here, if I use that triggers the buff. So if I just go here and say I want to dash, now I have the Arcane Synergy buff. And you can just do that willy-nilly out of combat all you want. And obviously bonus actions are mostly free in the middle of a fight anyway, especially if you're like a fighter. But for some reason the regular dash action doesn't do it itself, so I think it has to be driven by an item, at least as far as dash is concerned. But let's go ahead and hit this guy, and I'll show you how just the act of hitting him triggers this buff.
You were witnessed assaulting someone.
So you look, I have it already. Just one swing on this dude and I already have the buff. Didn't do anything else, don't have any weird stuff going on, just boom. Notice, I don't have it for the damage on that swing, but every swing from that point on, while I have the buff up, is going to be an extra 3 damage to every single swing, just because I'm wearing this helmet. So it's very, very easy to just get free damage, especially early on. Any class is going to use a weapon for damage. Just free money. You see right here, after the strength mod and the giant slayer from Baldur's 3 for spellcasting modifier for Arcane Synergy. So, real easy. Gets a bunch of damage. Now let me tell you, while this is cool, on this generic hireling fighter that I made, which doesn't have Mirror of Loss or any of that extra buffs, just straight. No itemization in order to prioritize stats. What you can do is some really cool stuff with an Oathbreaker Warlock combination. So here I've got Shadowheart set up as a level 7 Oathbreaker and a level 5 Pact of the Blade Warlock. So that gives you the 3 attacks per action, just like a level 11 or 12 fighter would get. But you can do all sorts of just crazy stuff. And since you're Pact of the Blade, that means your main weapon is using your charisma modifier instead of whatever normal stat it would be. So you've got one set of, I have a bunch of charisma mod to my hit and damage. And then Oathbreaker has this neat aura at level 7 called the Aura of Hate. which gives you your Charisma mod as bonus damage. So now I've got Charisma from Pact of the Blade to damage, Charisma from Aura of Hate to damage, and if I just so happen to be wearing this helmet that we were talking about, now I'm going to have the Diadem as Charisma mod to damage. So effectively you're triple dipping off of one stat at this point. Granted, obviously this is an endgame build because I'm level 12, but you can start having the Charisma stack happen as early as level 10, because level 7 for Aura of Hate, level 3 for the Bind Pack weapon ability. But you can just make this do some insane amount of damage. I'm not even using a great weapon here. I do have kind of some endgame gear in order to boost the damage up more. But you can just really do some crazy stuff with this.
You were witnessed assaulting some.
I mean, right here off the rip. Oh, I didn't have it on that first attack. So let's do another one. So right here, you can see Charisma mod from Pact of the Blade, Charisma mod from Aura of Hate, Charisma mod from Arcane Synergy. Just right there, plus 18 damage from the build and a helmet. Done. Just really, really good. But cool. That's all I really wanted to talk about. So feel free to work this helmet into your builds or don't. Up to you. Cool. Thanks for watching. Bye.